In this video, we will be rigging and installing a MFS20E, though most of these instructions may apply to Tohatsu outboards 30 horsepower and below. Please refer to the setup manual that came in the box with your specific outboard for complete instructions. This video is meant to supplement the included setup manual for those who have chosen to complete the installation themselves. Tohatsu products are supported through a wide and trusted dealer network. We recommend using a certified Tohatsu dealer for all your service needs. To locate a dealer near you, visit tohatsuamerica.com. Maximum capacity plates. Under the U.S. Coast Guard regulations, boat manufacturers are required to display a capacity rating plate that dictates the maximum weight capacity, including persons, weight, and gear, as well as a maximum horsepower rating for the engine. Installing an outboard rated higher than the capacity limit can be dangerous and potentially illegal. Disregarding the capacity ratings and overpowering your boat can cause serious injury, fatal accident, or severe damage to the hull. For questions regarding your specific capacity limits, please contact your boat manufacturer. Choosing a shaft length. After selecting the appropriate horsepower engine for your boating application, the next step is to determine the outboard shaft length based on the transom height of your boat. Tohatsu outboard shafts are measured from the bottom of the engine mounting bracket to the cavitation plate on the lower unit. Tohatsu currently offers a 15-inch, 20-inch, and 25-inch shaft lengths, also referred to as short, long, and ultra-long respectively. To determine your shaft length, measure in inches from the top of the boat transom to the bottom of your boat transom. Based on transom length measurements, 15 to 17-inch transoms require a short shaft, 20 to 22-inch transoms require a long shaft, and 25-inch and longer transoms require an ultra-long shaft. Please refer to the setup manual for your specific outboard dimensions. Mounting the outboard on the transom. Manual tilt models do not come with mounting templates. You must install first with the clamp screws and then drill your transom holes. Power tilt models are supplied with a mounting template. We will show you how to mount a power tilt model. Some boat transoms are supplied with pre-drilled mounting holes for an outboard motor. If your boat has pre-drilled holes, please refer to the setup manual mounting template to confirm that the pre-drilled holes align with the template. Before drilling any holes on the transom, please confirm that the mounting template provided in the setup manual matches the hole arrangement on your outboard motor. If you printed a digital version of this manual, please verify with a ruler that the measurements are to scale. Attach the mounting template to the transom and align the center line of the template with the center line of the transom. We recommend using a center punch and hammer to create an indentation within the center of each mounting hole placement. This will be your starting point for each drill location. The diameter for the MFS20E mounting holes is 21/64 of an inch or 8.3 millimeters. Please refer to your setup manual for your outboard's mounting hole dimensions. Drill at a 90-degree angle to the transom surface and drill all the way through the transom. The boat transom surface where the outboard is installed must be flat. If there are any rivets or screws that may interfere with the transom bracket or a power tilt and trim pump, you will need to add a spacer of appropriate thickness between the engine brackets and the transom to avoid contact. Most Tohatsu outboards feature a lifting point on the top of the engine block. We recommend utilizing a hoist to install your outboard to the transom. Connect a lifting chain or strap to the hanger and hoist the outboard, aligning the outboard mounting bracket holes with the transom holes. Be sure that the anti-ventilation plate of the outboard motor is 1/4 inch to 1 inch below the bottom of the hull. Apply marine sealant around the transom bolt holes on both sides of the transom. For power tilt models, the motor is secured using 4 mounting bolts. For manual tilt models, the motor is secured using 2 mounting bolts and 2 clamp screws. Fuel water separator. It is recommended to install an additional 10-micron fuel water separator. A genuine Tohatsu fuel water separator is used to effectively remove water and foreign substances contained in the fuel. The fuel water separator should be mounted vertically with the mounting manifold on top and the filter housing on bottom. Connecting the steering cable. Before connecting the steering cable, apply a thin coat of marine grease to the cable end. Insert the steering cable into the tilt tube until the nut contacts the tilt tube threads. Tighten the nut to the specified torque. Install the drag link seal ring to the other side of the tilt tube. Be careful not to over-tighten the drag link seal ring. Attach the drag link as shown in the setup manual schematic. Do not use substitute hardware, as this could lead to loosening of nuts and bolts and disconnection of the link rod. Insert the drag link arm into the hole on the port side of the steering cable. Select one of the nylon lock nuts and one of the washers and install on base of drag link arm to hand tight. The MFS20 hook plate is pre-installed at the factory. If your circumstances differ, install the hook plate to the outboard with 2 washers and 2 bolts, using liquid thread locker and with the horizontal portion on top. Connect the drag link arm to the hook plate using a bolt and washer through the bottom. Then, place the collar between the hook plate and the drag link arm. After that, place the washer and nylon lock nut above the hook plate. Make sure you use the correct mounting hole on the hook plate according to the schematic in the setup manual. Tighten all hardware according to the torque specifications. Installing the remote control cables to the control box. Your outboard setup manual includes basic instructions for a side mount control box. However, as your boat configuration may require a different style control box, we recommend following the installation manual included with your specific control box. In some side mount arrangements, your boat configuration may also require you to swap the positioning of the control box control lever from the factory position to the other side. In this scenario, please refer to the installation manual included with your specific control box for instructions. In this video, we will walk through the steps to install a standard starboard side mount control box. You will need 2 3300 series remote control cables to connect the remote control box to the engine. One will control the throttle, the other will control the shift. Though the lengths will vary, the cable ends are identical. You may choose either cable for your throttle or shift. Unscrew the 2 screws from the rear panel of the control box, then detach the rear panel. For both cables, thread the cable end of the remote control cable into the cable joint up to approximately 0.43 inches or 11 millimeters. Then lock them with the supplied lock nut. Apply marine grease to the hole of the cable joints. Select your shift cable. Engage the outer groove of the shift cable with the clamp groove of the housing. Then insert the cable joint into the end pin of the shift arm and lock them with supplied E-ring. Insert the supplied spacer grommet into the clamp groove. Similar to installing the shift cable, attach the throttle cable to the throttle arm. Engage the outer groove of the throttle cable with the clamp groove of the housing. Then insert the cable joint into the end pin of the throttle arm and lock them with supplied E-ring. Reinstall the control box rear panel with the supplied 2 screws. Mounting the control box. After connecting the remote control cables to the control box, the next step is to mount the control box to your boat. Most boats are built with a designated area for your control box. If you have questions, we recommend consulting your dealer or boat manufacturer to best determine control box placement and installation. Instructions for mounting the side mount control box are included in the parts packaging. Position the control box on the boat's mounting location. In this example, we have a mounting bracket. Verify that in this position, the control box lever achieves full operation range with no obstructions. Verify that no wires or cables are positioned behind the mounting location or could be damaged during installation. Using a marking device, mark the position of the 3 mounting holes. Using a 6mm drill bit, drill 3 holes where you have marked. Your control box also includes optional spacers to be used in the event of clearance obstacles. Reposition the control box, aligning the mounting holes. Install with the provided hardware. Installing the remote control cables to engine. Loosen the drive shaft housing cover bolts on the port side of the engine. The bolts are structured to prevent falling. You will not fully remove the bolts or drive shaft housing cover from the port side. Remove the cowl seal, then loosen and remove the drive shaft housing cover bolts on the starboard side. Fully remove the drive shaft housing cover on the starboard side. To identify shift versus throttle cables, shift the control box out of neutral into forward gear, just out of detent. This will slightly move just the shift cable. If you move too far into forward gear, you would have engaged throttle as well, and both cables would have moved, making it more difficult to distinguish between the two. You may repeat this process to identify throttle and shift cables later. Screw the cable joints to the cable ends of the remote control cables by approximately 0.39 inches or 10 millimeters, the equivalent of 9 threads. Insert the shift cable through the shift cable location on the rubber rigging grommet, according to your Outboard's setup manual. Repeat this process for the throttle cable. Open the metal latch on each side of the metal cable bracket. Attach the grooved collar of the cables to the metal bracket on the engine and close the latches around both cables. With the control box in forward gear, set the shift arm of the outboard into forward gear. Adjust the cable joint of the shift cable so that the hole of the cable joint aligns with the shift arm pin. Install the shift arm pin through the cable joint hole. Adjust the control box to neutral, and check that the neutral throttle lever on the control box is at full close position. Adjust the cable joint of the throttle cable so that the hole of the cable joint aligns with the throttle arm pin. Install the throttle arm pin through the cable joint hole. Tighten the nuts at the ends of the cable joints. Secure the cable joints to the arm pins with the supplied washers and snap pins. Snap pins should be installed from the top downward. The next step is to check forward, neutral, reverse, and throttle functions. Shift the control box into forward gear just past detent. Check that the shift lever on the motor has moved to forward gear. Repeat the same process for neutral and reverse, using the control box and checking the position of the shift lever. Adjust the cable joint positioning in the case of improper operation. To check throttle functions, shift the control box to full forward throttle and verify that the throttle valve on the motor is fully open. Return the control box to neutral and check that the throttle valve is fully closed. Fully closed means that the throttle valve is flush with the stopper and there is not a gap. If you see a gap when the shift is in neutral, that means the throttle cable must be adjusted. To adjust, uninstall the throttle cable joint. Realign the cable joint hole and arm pin. Reinstall the washer and snap pin, and then complete throttle check again. You will need a main wiring harness, which is available in different lengths based on your boat setup. One end of the wiring harness is built to plug into the control box and the other to the engine. Connect both ends of the main wiring harness to the engine and the control box. Insert the main wiring harness and engine's battery cables into the rubber rigging grommet. Adjust the rubber rigging grommet to align with the metal bracket. Reinstall the starboard drive shaft housing cover. Tighten the starboard side bolts first, followed by the port side bolts. Reinstall the top cowl seal firmly. Gauge installation. While no gauges are necessary to run your Tohatsu outboard, we recommend at minimum a tachometer for remote applications. If you do not install a tachometer, it is necessary to keep the cable terminal plug on the remote control box to prevent short circuiting. Gauges should be installed where the boat operator can best read the information. We recommend consulting your dealer or boat manufacturer to best determine gauge placement and installation. Genuine Tohatsu tachometers include installation manuals with pole settings specific to your outboard model. Be sure to read the instructions to select your correct pole setting. Battery installation. Your outboard comes supplied with the standard factory battery cable installed. In the case that you need a longer battery cable, only use marine copper cables. Do not use aluminum cables for any outboard marine installations. If longer battery cables are required, the cable gauge must increase based on length and application. We recommend removing the original cables and replacing with one continuous cable. Do not connect multiple cables. Please refer to the setup manual for the supplied cable length and gauge as well as recommended extension lengths and gauges. Be sure to comply with each regulation and standard to ensure your safety and longevity of the outboard motor. Minimum battery requirements will differ based on your specific outboard model. Please refer to your owner's manual for your outboard's minimum battery requirements. Battery requirements may also differ depending on your geographical location. When in doubt, it is best to consult a dealer. It is recommended to dedicate one battery to powering your outboard. If other accessories require a power source, we recommend installing a separate battery. Your battery should be installed in a marine battery box or tray and secured to the hull to prevent falling, rolling, pitching, or any motion shock from waves. It should also be protected from water spray. The positive battery cable is the one with the red tube on the terminal end. When connecting the battery cables, connect the positive or red cable first, followed by the negative or black cable. Tighten battery terminal nuts securely. Do not use a wing or butterfly nut for installing the battery cables. Reverse the order when disconnecting, removing the black cable first, followed by the red. Do not disconnect the battery cables during engine operation. It is highly recommended to cover your positive battery terminal from accidental contact with metal objects to prevent an electrical short circuit, whether by a battery box or terminal cover. It is important to follow your outboard's regular break-in procedure and maintenance schedule according to the guidelines in your owner's manual. Your authorized Tohatsu dealer is there to assist with any questions you might have. We hope you enjoy your time on the water. See it, hear it, feel the wind.